Welcome to Upur Pathshala. Today we will learn about the process of digestion. Now, this digestion, why this is so important in human body? This digestion process is important for human body just because to get nutrition. To get nutrition. If there is no nutrition in our body, then we cannot walk, we cannot do any kind of function to live in this world. So, to get this nutrition, we have to digest the food first. That's why digestion is important. Now, what is digestion? What is digestion? Digestion is a process. What kind of process? This process is a series of reaction. This digestion process is a series of reaction. Series of reaction for what? Or of what? Series of reaction of food. The food we eat, that food get reacted by several enzymes and something present in our body, in saliva, that may be in stomach, whatever it is. But this digestion process is a series of reaction of food with the digestive enzyme and juice. Okay, so first of all we learn that digestion is a process of to get nutrition. And what is digestion? What kind of process is this? This digestion process is a series of reactions of food with the digestive enzymes and juice. Clear? Now, why this digestion process is so important? Why? What is the importance of digestion? What is the importance? The importance is this digestion process breaks down the food. Food means what are the main food particles, or what are the main ingredients present in the food which we take every day? That is carbohydrate and protein and fat. These three ingredients, these three things is very important to make our body, to develop our body, to grow our body. But this carbohydrate, protein and fat first need to be digested. And these three things get digested by the process of digestion. Why? Because this carbohydrate, this protein and this fat, these are large molecules. And the large molecules, these are large molecules. And these large molecules cannot be absorbed by our body. So these large molecules are need to be small. And this process from the large molecules to small molecules, this process is the digestion. Okay, carbohydrate becomes smaller and forms glucose. Proteins become smaller and form amino acid. Fat becomes smaller and form fatty acid and glycerol. Now, as in this process of digestion, the digestive enzymes are very important. So we have to know about the enzymes. What is enzyme? Enzyme is actually a catalyst which helps the process of digestion to get faster. This enzyme or this catalyst, these are biocatalyst, as these enzymes are present in human body, so these are biocatalyst, and this enzyme or catalyst helps the process of digestion to get faster, more quickly. That's why enzyme is very very important. And also this enzyme breaks down the large particle of carbohydrate, protein, fat and the foods into smaller particles. Now this enzyme are mainly of three types. Mainly these enzymes are of three types. What are they? They are proteases, lipases and amylases. Now in case of proteases there are ases, lipases, ases, and in case of amylases there is ases. Now this proteases means, ases means breakdown. Now the enzyme which break down the means protein, that is proteases. The enzyme which break down the lipid or fat, the large molecule of lipid or fat, that is known as lipases. And the enzyme that breaks down the amyl or carbohydrate, that is known as amylases. These proteases, lipases or amylases, these three kinds of enzyme which helps to break down the protein, lipid or fat and carbohydrate are proteases, lipases and amylases. These three types of enzymes are very very important in case of digestion. Now this digestion process starts in the mouth. This digestion process starts in the mouth, which also known as buccal cavity or oral cavity. The whole process of digestion starts in the mouth or buccal cavity or oral cavity, because we take food with our hand first of all into our mouth or into our buccal cavity or into our oral cavity. In this mouth or buccal cavity or oral cavity, the mastication of food and also the swallowing of food, these two things, mastication and swallowing, happens or starts in the buccal cavity. Okay, now what is this mastication and how the process of swallowing occurs in our buccal cavity or mouth or oral cavity? There is two types of action happens in mouth, occurs in mouth or buccal cavity or oral cavity. What are they? Number one, the mechanical breakdown, and number two, that is chemical breakdown. What is mechanical breakdown? This mechanical breakdown also known as physical breakdown. And in this mechanical breakdown, the main thing which helps in this process is teeth present in our buccal cavity or mouth. This teeth helps to break down the large food particle into small pieces. The large food particle becomes small by chewing by the help of teeth, and this process from the large particles breaks down into small pieces, that is known as mastication. So the large food particles become small. These small particles now enters in the process of chemical breakdown. And how chemical breakdown happens? In our mouth, there are several glands which are known as salivary gland. These salivary glands secretes saliva. Secretes saliva. This saliva contains two types of enzyme. Those are salivary amylase and maltase. These two kind of main enzyme present in saliva which secretes from the salivary glands present in the mouth. Okay. Now, besides salivary amylase and maltase, there are also several enzymes and some antibacterial agent is also present inside the mouth. Now, what is the function of salivary amylase and maltase? Through mastication, the large food particle becomes smaller. But the food which are mainly present in the form of carbohydrate this carbohydrate is a polysaccharide. Polysaccharide means this is large molecule. This carbohydrate gets masticated by the process of mastication, it's okay. But to enter or to get digested well, chemical breakdown is needed. And this chemical breakdowns starts with the help of salivary amylase. This salivary amylase helps the carbohydrate to be broken down into maltose, which is disaccharide. So carbohydrate which was polysaccharide with the help of salivary amylase that becomes maltose, which is smaller than the carbohydrate, that is disaccharide. Now this salivary amylase, it is also known as ptyalin. So ptyalin and salivary amylase, these two things are the same. Okay, now maltose, which is a smaller form of carbohydrate and which becomes small by the process of chemical breakdown by the help of salivary amylase or ptyalin, that becomes smaller. But we have to make more small. This maltose should be more smaller. This maltose should be more smaller. That's why this maltose becomes glucose, which is monosaccharide. Which is monosaccharide. Mono means single, so di means two. So from di it becomes mono, means it becomes more smaller. And from maltose to form glucose, maltase helps. With the help of maltase, the maltose becomes more smaller and form glucose. And this is the smallest form of carbohydrate or polysaccharide. Now this glucose is too small to get absorbed by the cells through the blood. Okay, so carbohydrate becomes digested. We have to mind it that in mouth or in buccal cavity, only carbohydrate get digested. Only carbohydrate get digested. No proteins get digested or no fat get digested. Only carbohydrate get digested. Almost 30% of carbohydrate get digested by the action of salivary amylase or ptyalin. Salivary amylase or ptyalin. Okay, now we have to, or we should learn about the mucus. What is mucus? Mucus is a secretory or secreted lubricants. Lubricants. What is this? This lubricants helps to lubricate or to become slippery. To become sleepy of the digested food in the mouth. We got to know that by the process of mastication, the large food particles become small. These smaller food particles becomes digested by the chemical breakdown through two enzymes, salivary amylase and maltase. After get digested, these smaller particles get gathered together, and the gathering of the smaller particles after digestion, that is known as bolus. So what is bolus? Bolus is the gathering of the smaller particle which became smaller by the process of mastication. Okay, and the smaller particles after the mastication get digested by the process of chemical breakdown, and then they get gathered and form bolus. This bolus gets lubricated or slippery by the mucus. Why? To get swallowed into our mucus. Okay. So what we get to know in this class, that is the digestion process is very important to get nutrition for the human body. Why it is very important? Because the food we take in our body, those are all in large form, and the large form of the foods cannot be absorbed by the cells of our body. That's why the large foods of carbohydrate, the large protein, the large fat need to be smaller. That's why carbohydrate becomes glucose, protein becomes amino acid, and fat becomes fatty acid and glycerol, which are the smaller form of carbohydrate, protein and fat, and that becomes the smaller by the process of digestion. That's why digestion is needed. Okay, but what is digestion? Digestion is a series of reaction. Series of reaction of what? Series of reaction of food with the help of digestive enzymes. Okay, now what is enzymes? Enzyme means a biocatalyst which helps to get fasten the process of digestion, and also the enzyme helps to break down the large particle into small particles. The enzymes are categorized in three groups: proteases, which break down the protein; lipases, which break down the lipase or lipid; or amylase, which break down the carbohydrate. These three kinds of enzymes helps in the process of digestion. Okay, now the digestion process helps in mouth or buccal cavity or oral cavity, and that starts by the process of mastication and swallowing. And what is the mastication and how it helps in swallowing? By two process. One is mechanical breakdown. Teeth help in this mechanical breakdown, and the large food particles become smaller by the process of mastication, and this masticated smaller food particles enters in the chemical breakdown, and this chemical breakdowns starts and occur with the help of salivary glands. These salivary glands secrete saliva, and saliva contains two main enzymes: salivary amylase, which is known as ptyalin, and maltase. Okay, now this salivary amylase breaks down the large carbohydrate, which is known as polysaccharides, into small maltose, which is disaccharide, and this disaccharide maltose becomes more smaller with the help of maltase into monosaccharide glucose. And now this glucose is too smaller to get absorbed by the cells of our body easily, and in this process, in this digestion process, in mouth only carbohydrate get digested chemically. 30% of the carbohydrate, almost 30% of the carbohydrate get digested inside our mouth very easily with the help of salivary amylase. Without the salivary amylase, there is also mucus, which is a lubricant, and this lubricant helps to become slippery of the food bowl or bolus. What is bolus? Bolus is the small masticated food particles gets gathered and form bolus, and this bolus gets sleepy or becomes sleepy by the helps of mucus to get swallowed in our stomach, to our stomach easily by the help of mucus. And that is all about today's class. Thank you.